Hi everybody. Today I wanted to take an opportunity to kind of show you a bit of a scaled down part of our cleaning process. I've got a customer that's interested in some of our beam cutoff ends. He's got a project that he wants a couple pieces for. If you've been on our Etsy store, one of our listings is for, we've got miscellaneous cutoff beam ends that are available in lots of different sizes and lengths. Most of those come from our cleaning process. When we get barn beams in, from our dismantler, our supplier, they'll be typically as long as they were when they were part of the barn structure, anywhere from 12 to sometimes up to 40 foot long. And so we'll cut those down into more mantle beam size lengths, and sometimes part of the process, we'll be able to make some lengths out of, and then we'll have a portion left over. So I thought, instead of just chucking those on the firewood pile, well, maybe we'll just make them available and see if there's people that need them for their craft projects or for whatever they got going on. And so we've already had a couple of clients ask for them, and so I need to clean up a couple of pieces. And so this is a good opportunity to kind of show you the shape that most of our barn beams are in when they come from our supplier. They're basically straight right out of the barn. And so you can see this one's still pretty dirty. It's got some bird poop on it. There's lots of stuff, you don't want to take that right straight into your house. You got to clean it up a little bit. And so one of the first things that we do as part of the cleaning process is to use an Osborn brush. Now this looks like kind of a wire brush. The bristles aren't necessarily wire. They're a little bit flexible to them, and they're kind of abrasive. I think this is the 120 grit. They're available in different grits, kind of like sandpaper. So it's kind of a combination between like a wire wheel and a sanding disc. But as mount these on, I use a variable speed sander polisher. This is a 7-inch. It just screws right onto the head there. I like the variable speed because sometimes you need a little slower and a little faster. I don't want to put it right on just a sander polisher that goes wide open 6,000 RPM. That'll be way too fast. There's kind of a sweet spot in using this thing where you find out you don't want to push on it too hard. You kind of want to let the brush do as much of the work as it can. When you find that sweet spot between letting it ride and you find the right rotation speed to it, that's where it works out really well. It'll just take off the dirt and the dust and leave you with a nice clean piece of wood that's still got the character to it, still shows some patina, but all the junk, most all the junk is cleared off, and it helps kind of sand it down and smooth it off a little bit. So these are a couple of the pieces that I want to show my client to see if he's interested in. So I thought I'd take a chance and show you kind of part of the process. Another really important tool is a good dust mask, because this thing kicks off so much dust when we're cleaning these things off. So I'm going to put this on, I'm going to fire up the polisher and show you what an Osborn brush can do. you can see how much dust it kicks off and the difference that it makes. Taking off all that dirt and dust and crud. So kind of trying to find the sweet spot between having the patina left, but most of the dust and dirt and junk gone. That's kind of part of the art of the cleaning process, is figuring out where that sweet spot is for each of the pieces, because it can be different from piece to piece. Like there'll be different patina on an old pine hewn beam, which this is, as compared to something like this. You know, there's just a different look to it. But trying to uncover that and leave as much character and patina while taking away as much dust as you possibly can. That's, you know, it takes a little bit of I've been doing this for 10 years and I'm still kind of refining my technique, but most of the time they turn out pretty well. So once you've got them brushed off, then I kind of like to take a sander to the edges. You kind of see this one got, you know, cut off and squared off, and so these corners are still, you know, pretty raw and pretty straight. I like to take the sander and kind of round them over like that to try to make it a little bit easier. Make those corners kind of fade away a little bit. They don't stick so much, and kind of help it, you know, kind of match the rest of the beam a little bit. So once we've taken the sander over all the corners and stuff, then it's just about ready. Got the corners knocked down, then we'll just go over the faces a little bit with orbital sander, just to kind of smooth things off. Try to get rid of as many spinners as we can. You know, our clients are, you know, some of them are fairly concerned. They've got young kids in the house, and you know, the people will be wanting to touch the beams, and they kind of, you know, they ask, you know, are there going to be splinters? And I try to reassure them that we do lightly sand all of our pieces, but there's no way that I can 100% guarantee that there won't ever be splinters, because especially with the hewn beams, and just there's stuff that sticks out every so often. So you kind of got to use some common sense. Most of the time, you know, they'll be presentable, but just, you know, stay away from some of the obviously the rough areas. I always recommend sealing or polishing or staining our pieces, because during that process, that kind of helps to cover over some of the, you know, some of the pointy sharp areas. It'll help them to seal and kind of fade in and make it easier, not only easier to clean, but easier on the hands, you know, as part of the process. So they'll stay beautiful and stay user-friendly for years to come. So once all the sanding is done, kind of the last part before finishing or getting ready to ship out is we'll just blow everything off. I've, you know, just got a blower gun tip here on my air compressor, and that takes care of everything. We try to blow out all the cracks and crevices as much as we possibly can, because there's dirt and dust and stuff down in there, but we try to get out as much as we can, clean off as much dirt and dust as possible, and uncover as much of the nice patina as we can. One of the things that I think is really cool that sometimes we come across, if you know anything about Michigan and some of its history, back in the 1880s and 1881, there was a wildfire that came through the Thumb area, and since this is where most of our material comes from, most of the barns in this area were built, you know, early mid late 1880s, and that got me thinking. I came across this piece, and this is the corner, you know, probably the corner of the original tree, and you can see on there's still some char marks on there. And I got to wondering, maybe this tree was still standing when that wildfire came through, and as the settlers came through and started marking out their plots and building their farms, building their barns for it, they probably were able to salvage some of those trees from the wildfires and actually use them in the frames and the structures for their barns. Because every once in a while there'll be a beam that comes through that's got, you know, still has some of the charring on it, and it makes me wonder. I bet you that tree was probably still standing through the wildfire. And that's just one of the cool things about working with this material, is that it's had multiple lives before it makes it to our shop, and then it's going to go out of here and have another life yet still. And that's part of the cool thing about being able to do this, working with material that's that's not just reclaimed, but has already served a purpose, and now we're giving it a new purpose. And there's just so much character and story behind it, and we're just adding to it and building on it and keeping it going. And that's one of the things that I appreciate, and I think is really cool when being able to do this. So if you have any questions or comments about our process, I'll leave a link down in the description for this brush. This is really cool. It made a huge difference in our cleaning process once I discovered this. And for more information, check out the link in the description to find out more about that. But just wanted to let you guys know that, you know, give you a first-hand look at kind of a scaled down portion of how we take beams straight out of the barn and get them ready to hang in your living room. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.